What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about the new Cascadeur in-between feature because I believe this is a game changer and I think it's going to forever revolutionize animation as we know it. Because within the animation industry, there's always this little joke of there's no animate button, right? There's nothing you can press and then your character just has this amazing animation. That doesn't exist. You're going to have to learn body mechanics. You're going to have to learn, a good understanding of physics. You're going to have to learn acting. This is all you're going to have to learn as an animator, at least a 3D animator. And I think with Cascadeur's in-between feature, I think a lot of that goes out the window because it gets as close as we've ever gotten to a literal animate button, okay? Now, I know a lot of people are really anti-AI. I know there's a lot of artists who are really anti-AI, and I want to tell you, you got to get over that hump, bro.
He's out of line, but he's right.
You have to get over that hump. I know there's a lot of people who really wish that we go back to horse and buggy days. You got to let that go. I know there are a lot of people who wish we go back to black and white movies. You got to get over that. You have to let that go. As technology progresses, you've got to adapt and evolve or you're going to become extinct, especially as an artist. Because all these AI tools or whatever, that's exactly what they are. They are AI tools, okay? They're not meant to replace unless you allow yourself to be replaced.
Damn.
Because I want to say that me, who may be going into these AI tools and learning them, and if I can get out animation at a faster rate and the same quality than you are always going to lose the job. And when we talk about animation, one of the most crucial things is employment. And if you're looking to get a job in animation, I have a book for you because I go over the 4 tactics, I'll say, that I use to get my animation job and to get other animation jobs thereafter. I have friends who have used these tactics as well. And with every chapter of me describing how to go about getting a job in animation, I also couple that with a life study, just to let people know that I'm not BSing, that this isn't just coming out my butt, that I've actually implemented this and have found success. So if you haven't checked it out, I suggest you check it out. It helps out the channel immensely. If there are 2 animators and one is using AI tools to expedite their workflow and the other person is going, I don't want AI, I'm gonna do it all by myself, whether it's drawing, whether it's clicking on a mouse, 3D animation, that artist will always lose. 9 out of 10, okay? And I just make an exception because, there's always that one person who's like, well, I did it, So I'm just letting you know because right now, what they have is that they have this in-between button. You can set 2 poses and hit in-between, and the computer will give a physics-driven in-between segment of how much you want it in-between. I believe the limit right now is 41 frames, but it will give a pretty good version of an in-between of an entire animation. And it's insane, and it happens within seconds. Now, right now, Cascadeur says that the data right now is only trained on, I believe, sitting, running, jogging, things of that nature. But how I envision this to evolve is really it gets to the point where the animator can input their own data. So for those of you who know Unreal Engine, how I view it is a form of motion matching. Now, what has since happened in Unreal Engine is that what you can do is you can upload a whole bunch of motion capture data into Unreal Engine, into like this data set. It will extract from the motion capture data set and figure out what is the best transition for the player to go, for the character to go. So if the character moves forward and you're pushing up just so, ever so subtly, it'll extract from the data set, okay, we're gonna use this, this slow walking animation. As you progress, it will then transition to the jog animation. As you push the stick up further, it will transition to the running animation. And the only setback with something as advanced as that, because it looks amazing, once you start to, once you see it and you start feeling it and you play around with it going from left to right, the motion is absolutely amazing. Like I said, the only setback is that you have to have a lot of data. You have to have a lot of data. You have to have 45, 90, all these, you have to take into account all the variables for the player to stop and then pivot, or for the player to run and then stop, or for the player to run and stop and then go, 45-degree angle and whatnot. You have to have those transitions. You have to have that animation so that, Unreal Engine can pull from the data set. Because if it doesn't have anything to pull from, it's just going to, go to the next, available data set that they have. And that may be janky if you don't plan this out. So how I see this happening is having a system like that, but for animation. Instead of gameplay, we have it in animation where a person can click and create a sitting pose, and then create a run pose, and then create a stand pose, and based off of the data set that has been trained, the computer will in between that. So now you just have 3 poses or so? Sit, run, and then stand, 3 poses, and the computer naturally does, the anticipation, the overlap, the overshoot. It does all of that. I know many people may view that as, well, you're not really doing anything. You're not really animating. Listen, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but animation is a business. Video games is a business. All of this is a business. The only people who have such this, naivete, vision of it's really about the art. That's what it's about. It's about you connecting with the environment and putting it onto paper. The only people who think like that, bruh, I'm just letting you know, are those who are unemployed or those people who have commissions in my bio. That's it. Hey, hit me up for commissions. DM me for commissions.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Those are the only people who view it that way. Everyone else understands it's a business. And you have to take into account, think about Inventable, how long it takes for Inventable to get an episode out. Can you imagine drawing, the lead animator drawing 2 frames and the computer, the AI, animating in between it? And it looks good because it understands a concept of physics, right? It's implementing the physics, the drag, the overshoot, all of that into the animation. Can you imagine going from, years to complete a show to a few months to complete a show? That's what you have to take into account. There will also have to be, for every slot someone loses, that slot will have to be replaced from someone who knows how to utilize the tools. That's just how business works. In addition to that, it'll allow you free up more time for you to do what you want to do. If you actually, in fact, want to draw and you don't want to use AI, well, now you can actually hone in your craft. You're still going to have to hone in your craft. That's what people have to understand. You're still going to have to do that. Because let's say even with 2D animation, you're going to have to give the computer a data set to have it train on. So you're going to have an understanding of proportions. You're going to have an understanding of perspective. You're going to have an understanding, of color theory, light logic, etc. Because the computer, in how I envision it, is going to be trained off of what you train it. So if you train it on bad perspective, then all of the in-betweens is going to have bad perspective. If you train it on, a bad proportions, then all of your in-betweens are going to have bad proportions. So at the end of the day, there will still be a need for skilled artists. But that skill will have to expand, okay? You will have to broaden your horizon as to where your skill lies. I think this is a great advancement when it comes to animation. And I think a lot of people are either going to hate it or they are absolutely going to love it. Because the workflows, it's going to expedite the workflows insanely. Like even with this in between, I've seen some of the animations and I'm like, yeah, it's not there to where it's the final product. So that goes back to the animator, right? It's the same thing when it comes to mocap. A lot of the mocap you get, especially when you're dealing with animation in video games or even in movies, it's not perfect mocap, especially in video games. It may be good mocap, but you're still gonna have to push it to that next level to maybe redo the timing, to maybe redo the poses for a certain clarity. So you're always going to have to massage it to get to what you actually truly want. But you also have to understand not everyone cares about that. And, it opens the floodgates a lot of people to create films, to create movies, to create their ideas who may not have the resources or the capital to fund those said ideas. But along with that quality, yes, will there be slop? As people say, 100%. But that's the case for everyone. I think that's the case for anything. For every banana duct taped to a wall, there's a Picasso. So, who's to say which is art, which isn't art? So I don't have an issue with that. I think when people start labeling everything that's been assisted via AI in some capacity or one another, as slop, I think those are the idiots of the art industry.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Most artists, I would argue, view it as an improvement. Most professional artists will view this as an improvement to their workflow, because there is no glory of sitting at your cubicle, slaving away for hours, for the sake of art, for the sake of animation. Nobody wants to do that, okay? People want to go back to their lives, whether it's with their families, raising their children, or seeking out other ventures. I think it's a naive position that many seem to have online. That's what I'll say. Anyways, guys, that's a video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button, comment. Let me know what you guys think about this. And until next time, guys, keep animating.